move on to the other half, to Oppenheimer's dance partner, if you will, in this glorious week of cinema, and that is Barbie. If we said that there were only two women characters in Oppenheimer, Barbie says, "Hold my beer, I've got this." Barbie goes, "Don't worry, I've got this. No women in Oppenheimer. I have enough women. I have enough women for every other film in cinema this week."
Excel test passed with flying colours. In contrast,
I think this film could just be called Bechtel test, probably.
yeah.
So, okay. Sharon, have you seen Barbie?
Not yet. No, I was going to do a double. Well, I did a triple bill of films this week, and I was thinking, can I manage four? And
Well, in the same day?
No, over the course of the week.
Okay,
and
cool.
I just sort of, my intent crumpled before I
Okay.
before I made it to Barbie. So I haven't seen Barbie.
Okay, so but beforehand we were talking about the what we experienced when we went there with the number of people and how busy the cinemas were.
Yeah, it was the busiest I've ever seen our cinema for years. I think since Mamma Mia, I think that's probably the last thing I would compare it to, where you get that buzz of people just excited to see a film, especially
Yep.
Barbie, where people were dressed up, they were in their Barbie outfits, they were dressed in pink.
Yep.
Some people were like they're in leotards. And that was just when I was walking through the foyer.
Wow.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just don't get that sort of buzz about films. Well, I haven't seen a buzz about a film since Mamma Mia, basically.
Yeah, yeah, and I was just sort of saying, like I was saying earlier, with streaming, it wouldn't be the same if everybody was sat down in the house wearing pink. It's about the congregation of all these pink people,
Yeah.
all these pink. Well, not all ladies. I was gonna say pink ladies, but that isn't accurate. But anyway, so Holly, tell us, Barbie. What do you think? What is this? What is this film?
So
Which is why I think a lot of us asked the first time we heard they were making a Barbie movie.
It begins. Well, I mean, everybody has probably seen the initial intro, because that was one of the first trailers. With
Oh yeah, the 2001,
doll.
the 2001 Space Odyssey thing.
Yeah, the
Sean,
fake doll.
Sean, you would like it. This film starts off in pretty much the exact same way as 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh right, okay. I didn't see that in the trailer.
I've not seen that in the trailer either.
I will send you guys the trailer for that.
It is good. It lets you know this isn't going to be normal. This is not going to be.
It was set up with Helen Mirren as the
As the narrator.
narrator. So it begins with Barbies in Barbie Land, where everybody is Barbie. Barbie is, you begin with Margot Robbie, who is stereotypical Barbie, and then you have Barbie, President Barbie, and
Played by Issa Rae.
yeah, Dr. Barbie, Nobel laureate.
That's Alexandra Shipp.
Yeah.
No, Alexandra Shipp was Nobel laureate Barbie. Dr. Barbie, I think, was Harry Neff.
I'm trying to think which other ones we obviously we had ice skater Barbie, skater Barbie. You had every single Supreme Court justice.
Yes, yeah, the Supreme Court of Barbies, yeah.
They were, so it was constantly, there was, you had a sort of history of the world, and it's like, congratulations Barbie, because you've won the prize, and everyone's like, yeah, it's amazing, well done Barbie, it's awesome, thanks Barbie.
Hi Barbie, hi Barbie, hi Barbie, hi Barbie.
And it begins with this sort of this ridiculous concept, and everybody in the real world will thank us because we have overcome all of the problems in the world.
Yes,
All
we have solved sexism in Barbie Land because women are in charge.
So everything is now better. And then suddenly, stereotypical Barbie starts to have something of an existential crisis, and thinks depressing thoughts, and then suddenly also finds that her feet are flat. She can stand normally.
She no longer stands on tiptoes.
Yeah. So there's the houses don't have stairs, because they just sort of appear, and they will float down from the first floor of their houses, and they will be walking around in their high-heeled slippers, and then will be walking around in their high-heeled shoes, and then their high-heeled trainers, because that's what Barbie feet do. And suddenly you have Barbie having something of an existential crisis, with all of the Kens around as well, who are desperately seeking the attention of Relevant and all Barbies, because obviously you have Barbie and Ken. And
So can I just, Johnny? So there's multiple Barbies and multiple Kens.
There are so many because Sean, I'll tell you,
Okay.
in
I'm
addition to
intrigued. No, it's just that.
the thing is,
Yeah,
like,
go on.
in addition to this film being released on the same day as Oppenheimer, people when these two films came out, people were like, I don't think there's anybody else left in Hollywood, because there's multiple Barbie, multiple Kens, and the similar thing in Oppenheimer where you have someone like Jack Quaid is in Oppenheimer, and I don't think he says a word. I don't think he says so. It's similar. You have well-known people who are just in the background because there's so many Barbies and so many Kens and one Alan. And
one Alan, yes, there is an Alan. I'd forgotten that Alan even existed. I'm not sure if I knew that Alan existed.
I think most people do. There's like Alan and Midge.
Yeah, some of them are just like, I did not remember that.
Yeah.
And
Is that a little one?
No, Skipper is the little one. Skipper is Barbie's younger sister.
Yeah, Midge is the pregnant one.
Midge is the pregnant one. They because
Wow.
so yeah because
Yeah.
anyway, so essentially, because, and the thing about this is, like, every single Barbie you see in the film and every single is a doll that Mattel actually made.
Yeah.
It's a doll that Mattel, and the different outfits that they wear in the film are the outfits that these Barbie dolls actually had. And sorry, Holly, go on, because I have something to say about Mattel as we go on.
Yes. So Barbie has to go off and speak to, what is she? Is she Ugly Barbie?
Weird Barbie.
Weird Barbie, who has suffered at the hands of violent playing by children, and is
Has had her hair cut, has her face drawn on with marker, has had her legs splayed so that she's constantly in the splits. And it's like,
fucking mad.
That's everyone's Barbie, isn't it? Basically.
exactly.
I never had a Barbie. I had a Cindy.
I
It was
did
a
as well.
story altogether.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed a Barbie. I'm not sure if my mother remembers that I wasn't allowed a Barbie, but she wouldn't let me have a Barbie.
Yeah, I definitely had a Cindy.
So off Barbie has to go to fix things by the problems have existential crisis by going to the real world.
To find the girl who's playing with her. Yeah.
And there were a whole host of things in it where you just had to go, oh yes, that's a reason that they had the innuendo warning. Some of it was just ridiculous. So off Barbie and Ken.
Yes.
Together to the real world, where they discover what the real world is like.
Yeah.
And through this, they find that they must attempt to save both the real world and Barbie Land. I will hand over to Tosin.
Well, and I think at that point you have to stop because it gets spoilerific.
Yeah.
It gets spoilerific. Yeah. But I felt like this film, I mean, Sean, I know you think it's a Barbie movie, and when you hear a Barbie movie, there is a film you have in mind of what that film is going to be.
Yeah.
That this is just going to be a film that the toy company has made to cash in, and they're probably going to make figurines that now a Barbie that actually looks a lot more like Margot Robbie, and then they're going to sell that and everything like that. But the fact is that Mattel, the company that make Barbie, who have sanctioned this film, is actually a character in this film. And it's not even, and the fact that Mattel is in this film and the film is not particularly flattering about what Mattel have done in the past. Like, you have Will Ferrell, who shows up as the CEO of Mattel. The fact that they say, we want to do this thing, do it for little girls. We want to make sure that every little girl in the country, like in the world, has someone to play and someone to look up to. But it's a whole bunch of men. It's a whole bunch of men sat around a table saying what they want to do to inspire little girls. And it gets meta because they're talking about the fact that, like, the fact that they talk about Mattel, the fact they're going to the real world, the fact that they have this whole thing where they're talking about the expectations that Mattel put on the world by making this a doll that little girls have to play with. So little girls start looking up thinking, I should be like that. I should look like that. If I'm not like that, then there's something wrong with me. And they go there with this film. They go there talking about it. So I think this film, talk about a doll, it is really, really concerned with women and women's place in the world and what has been done to women, how women have to survive in the world. And then it's almost as if when you take the idea of a Barbie and you put that up against the reality of what actually is there, it starts struggling with that. So it gets philosophical, it gets meta, and it gets way more of a head scratcher. Like, I actually put on Facebook that of the two films that I saw this film a week with Barbie and Oppenheimer, I did not expect Barbie to be the bigger head scratcher. to be like, of going, hang on a sec, hang on, but yeah. But it also has this whole thing where I feel like I would get on better with this film if I was a woman. If that makes any sense, because
now that's going to be an interesting one because Cinema Buddy, I feel like I should give her a name like the blonde as A.A. Gill had. Dr. Cinema Buddy, hated it with a passion.
Oh wow!
I'm gonna. Can I come in here because I said earlier, I said about all the people coming out, and I asked some people what they thought of it.
Yeah.
And there was a couple. There was the bloke, the lady, and they'd obviously taken the little girl. And I just said, just because there were so many people, I said, "I assume you've seen Barbie." And he went, "Yeah, I have." And I said, "Well, what did you think of it?" And he said, "Honestly, I thought it was." He said it was awful like that. And I thought, well, I bet your wife liked it.
Oh,
I hated it.
Yeah. So lady doctor friend.
Yeah.
20 minutes in, wanted to leave. End of the film, wished she had left.
Yeah.
Absolutely loathed it. Hated it more than Tom Cruise's The Mummy, which is our line bad.
This is your nadir of cinema experiences.
Yeah, that is worse than Avalanche Shark and Shark.
Well,
to my mind, that bad. So for her, it was worse than any of my bad shark films.
Okay, now that is interesting. That isn't, because there were bits of it where I was thinking, where there were bits of it that I thought were fun, and the film is fun, and I really enjoyed it. And there were bits where I felt, I'm not so sure it's working right now, and I'm not sure if it's working right now because it wears its feminist heart on its sleeve very, very obviously. And there were bits where I was like, I don't feel as if I have the life experience to connect to that point. I don't think I have the life experience to connect to that point and everything. So there were bits of it where I was just thinking, and I always tell the story about watching Get Out in the cinema on the Isle of Wight, and watching it and going, as a black man, I'm watching a totally different film, and I'm connecting to this thing in a totally different way to how everybody else is connecting to it. And so now that we're having someone like Greta Gerwig getting a chance to make this film and make a film about the female experience of, like, from what I keep hearing, a lot of women tell me that this is the experience. Like, there's a scene where Barbie and Ken first come into the real world, and they have this line about when people are looking at them and everybody's staring at them, and Ken is going, "This is great, everybody's looking at me, I feel a sense of power," and Barbie's like, "I feel a sense of menace that everybody is looking at me." And the fact that they're having the exact same thing happening to them, but they're having different experiences, even though they're side by side. And I feel like that says a lot, because I know that there were some people in my viewing who didn't seem to quite like it as well. And so it's one of those things where I'm like, fun, not quite working, I don't know. But anyway, but Holly, what did you think?
So my views are complicated. So the first half, when I was watching it, I was a bit like, that's all right. And I enjoyed the second half more. And I got to the end of it and thought, that was okay, but it wasn't great. It's not as good as I thought it was going to be. I feel like it at the height.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Greater than I expected. But interestingly, having slept on it, I like it more than I did when I left the cinema.
Yes.
And oddly, I would very happily watch it again, because I think I could possibly also, having seen Oppenheimer immediately before with a break for a glass of wine in between, there was a sharp juxtaposition.
Yes, I know it's a double bill people have been doing, but I do not think it's a double bill that works. I think you need like a day.
Interesting. I think it would probably be better with a lunch in between, or a supper.
Yeah.
Something.
I think something you said there, Holly, which is really interesting, and I can sympathise with that. There has been a couple of films where I've gone away not knowing if I'd enjoyed it or not, and then having slept on it, was thinking, yeah, I did. In the end, I really, really liked that. So I can relate to what you're saying.
I could actually go and see it again in the cinema if I, had a, spare afternoon or whatever. I could quite happily go and, settle down and watch it once more, knowing knowing what's coming and possibly appreciating some more of the slightly ridiculous nuance in it, because there are so many.
I'm quite intrigued. I'm tempted. I am tempted to go and see it.
I think you should. I really, you should.
Sean, I think
I
you
haven't seen
should.
it yet.
Yeah, Sean, I reckon that there will definitely be bits of it that you would like. There will be bits of it that you would think, oh no, that's a bit too far. That's a bit too on the nose. And I think
you'll think what?
Yeah, and I agree that by the end of it, I'm a bit like you, Holly. I walked out of the cinema thinking, okay, because it's a stupid thing trying to compare the two but just because they are in the same week and because the whole Barbenheimer thing, people are saying, ooh, Oppenheimer, Barbie. I walked out thinking Oppenheimer's better. Oppenheimer's better, even though it's a stupid comparison. I had a better time with Oppenheimer than I did with Barbie. But
it's an empirically, better film in some ways, but it's not morally superior or anything.
No. It's I think it's a stupid comparison, even though I just made it. I think it's a stupid comparison.
I think.
But it's one everybody's going to be making, but I have to admit, like, thinking about the film afterwards, and you're thinking, okay, exactly what were they doing there, and how were they doing there? Yeah, that actually works. It's a bit like I'll tell you what it's like. Encanto. I remember seeing Encanto in the cinema and thinking, what's the big deal? And everybody started going crazy about this thing. I think what's the big deal? But my daughter has recently discovered Encanto, so that means that I've seen Encanto about 15 times in the past 10 days. So
I've seen it quite a few times as well, because you know the rewatching tendency.
Yeah. And when you rewatch it, you're kind of going, oh, I see what they were trying to do there. And I think it was almost like I wasn't expecting what they were trying to do in a Disney film, and saying, oh, so that's what, and that's the real magic all along, and everything. And I feel it's a little bit like that with Barbie, where it's probably going to take me a while to this is the kind of things you don't expect to say about a Barbie movie. It's going to take me a while to process this. It's going to take me a while. And the fact that I'm thinking that, I absolutely love. And the fact that Greta Gerwig has made a film that could have been a popcorn, stupid cash grab into a film that you have to process over a couple of days after watching it, I absolutely love. I absolutely love.
And I don't know, Sharon, even as a non-Barbie owner, there are some things I think probably having, as a girl, that one has an awareness of some of the ridiculous nuances. I mean, there was particularly around the costumes and things, where some things are just culturally familiar. And you know them because you're supposed to, and but one knows intrinsically what Barbie's dream house looks like.
Well, I had a lot of because in Britain in the 70s there was Cindy was the girl doll, so I had a Cindy, and then there was a little baby one that was called a Pippa doll, and I certainly had those sort of heightened sort of sexualized images of women that was given to me as like normal toys for girls to have. But when you look at them now, they were like quite sort of sexualized, because they were, the clothes were all a bit. I also had a bionic woman doll, which was not so sexualized.
Cindy, in comparison
to ordinary things.
Cindy was a little bit more, was a little bit less flamboyant than Barbie.
Yes,
just slightly more normal bodily proportions.
I have to say, my sister had a Cindy doll, and she had loads of stuff, and she had this little, like, banquet table with little bottles of champagne in buckets of ice, little tiny things they were like that. But I used to play, I used to play with her Cindy probably more than she did.
I had the wardrobe, and I think I had a bed, and I had various different Cindy, sort of paraphernalia.
There are some.
I remember another thing she had was Pelham's puppets. She used to have like little puppet things.
I think all girls, I think from a certain age, had these sort of, glamour dolls, basically, that were, I don't know if it was like subconsciously teaching you that glamour is good.
I think that's what they were doing.
I like the Action Man, but I didn't have a Ken with my Cindy, but Action Man was like Cindy's boyfriend in my house.
You see, I never saw Barbie in Nigeria, but
you appreciate as well some of the nuances is completely the wrong word. The details around things from Barbie Barbie as dolls and as the experience of playing with Barbie as them replicated in the film.
Yes.
Are particularly joyous.
Yep. There are some joyous bits. I mean, there's a disco dance scene. There's a choreographed disco dance at the beginning, because Sharon, at some points, this film has a very good go at becoming a musical.
Yeah. I've seen some of the clips of that. Yeah.
It has a very good go at becoming a musical, and I think Ryan Gosling is like, I love the fact that we have
fantastic.
Well, no, I love the fact that they have these big swings. This film is a big swing, and Ryan Gosling as Ken, the things that he does, and the fact that when he's walking around with his Backstreet Boys outfit with his 8-pack out and everything like that, you're just thinking, this guy has gone somewhere for this role. He has gone somewhere for this role, and I really. But anyway, we never actually gave Oppenheimer a star rating. I just realized we never gave him.
I'm sending you guys an outtake, which will not in any way, shape, or form ruin Barbie for you, but will amuse you. Actually, I'll send it to you first, Tosin, and then you can decide if it can be shared before they've seen it.
All right, cool. But first of all, let's talk about. Okay, so Holly, how many stars would you have given Barbie immediately leaving the cinema? How many stars are you going to give Barbie after a day sleeping on it?
I would probably have gone with a 2. And I am probably now heading towards a 4.
Yeah, very similar thing. I think immediately after coming out of the cinema, I probably would have gone with a 3, and I think now I'm going towards a 4. And the thing is, I think you've got America Ferrera, she's brilliant in it. Ariana Greenblatt, and I think that's brilliant casting. Actually, America Ferrera and Ariana Greenblatt as mother-daughter, brilliant casting. And I thought it was quite. I think it was quite good. I think it's a head scratcher, but I feel like, yes, I would give it a 4. I'll give it a 4. And if we go to Oppenheimer,